Hey, what is up everybody? This is Tattoo Bart and welcome to this channel. In today's episode, we are going to talk about a product from Wormhole Pro. It is the Aquila wireless tattoo pen, which has some really cool features. So without further ado, let's just dive down and see what this machine can actually do. So there isn't a whole lot in the box other than this machine. So let's just have a look at this machine. It is what we typically see with a stroke adjustable machine. The grip is very nice and clicky and it doesn't move around with the stroke, which is very nice. Now you can hear that these strokes actually click into place very well, so you don't have to worry about moving the stroke while you're tattooing. You can pull off the battery like that. If you are having a version with 2 batteries, I only have 1, so we don't really need to replace it. Now we got a couple of buttons set up on the side. We got the power button. When you hold it, it will turn on the machine. Of course, we got the plus and minus button, and we have a mode button, which I will explain in just a little bit. On the display, we can see the voltage, the hertz, the timer, and a couple of presets, which we can cycle through when we have that mode button selected. And with the plus and minus button, you can toggle between a couple of presets. Now, if you are in a certain mode and you hold the mode button, it will actually let you cycle between the dot mode and the hertz mode or voltage mode. Now, unfortunately, we cannot change the hertz when we are in the voltage mode. It will just display the hertz whenever you're changing the voltage. Now, if you are in that dot mode, you can change the voltage and the dots per second pretty much separate. This is not a feature I really like to use, but if you like it, you can play around with different needle protrusions per second, which is NPS stands for, and with higher and lower voltage to create your desired punch or softness in your tattooing. Now let's see what this machine can actually do. So let's set it up right here with some practice skin and have a look at what this machine can actually do. We are going to use just some standard needles. I want to use always small liners, medium liners, and heavy liners, and a little magnum. So we're going to start with our 3-round liner, 4.2, and we're going to run it at about 7.2 volts. Now, as always, I will keep quiet so you can hear the machine do its thing. It actually worked really nice. Now let's move it to 3.6 millimeters of stroke and see how it works then. That actually looks really nice for a small line. Now let's move over to our 3-round liner. Now this is a 10 gauge, so it's a bit tighter. That actually looks really good as well. Now we are gonna use a little bit of a shorter stroke, so we're gonna move to 3.9 rather than 4.2 to see how it actually aligns with a 7-round liner. Now you could use it at 3.6 as well, but just for the purpose of this video, I want to demonstrate the 3.9. Now let's make things a little bit interesting. We're going to use a 14-round shader because you guys always want to see how it performs with bigger needles. So here it is. Now on the video it might seem like I'm actually pushing this line in, but in reality it doesn't look as good as it does on the video. And I noticed that the machine started to struggle a bit, so I increased the voltage because I want to see if I can actually get this line in. And again, on the video, it might seem like it's there. It is a little bit better, but still not what I want it to be. So I decided to go a little bit weird with this. So I'm going to use the dot mode. I'm going to use it at a pretty high needle protrusion, and I'm going to set the voltage really high. So it actually punches a bit harder, but I don't get the same speed as what I would get when I use it on 10 volts. So a little bit slower, a little bit higher voltage, and see how that actually works. It did make it look a lot better, but to be honest, this is not something I would use on my client on real skin, but it was fun to experiment with. Let's continue with our shading. We're going to use a 9 curve mag, and we're going to lower our voltage down to about 5 volts. Excuse me for the dirty gloves. We're going to go use a 3.9 millimeter of stroke, and we're going to do a little bit of a pendulum swing and build up some shading right here with just solid black. I'm actually really satisfied with the way this machine shades. It's very comfortable. I want it to be a little bit softer, so we're going to use the 3.3 millimeter stroke, which is pretty much the softest setting I would ever use on a tattoo machine whenever I'm shading. And you can see that this shading is looking a bit softer. I'm going to cross hatch a little bit to kind of build up that shading a little bit more. But it's really nice with that 3.3 millimeter stroke. You really got all the time in the world to build up those soft shades. Now we're going to move back to our 4.2 millimeter stroke and start packing a little bit of solid black just to see how well that actually works with this machine. I always think that a 9 Magnum is perfect whenever you're packing small batches of color, and even in traditional pieces I always love to use a 9 Magnum. Here's a little overview of what that actually looks like close up. And now let's go back up top and talk about this machine a bit more. So that was the review of the Wormhole Pro Aquila. I think it is very similar to another Wormhole tattoo machine that we have used previously on the channel. So if you haven't seen that video already, you can also check that in the description down below. It is overall, it actually surprised me a lot when we did the more finer lines, the 3-round liner, the 7-round liner. They actually line really well, and I was super surprised. It is a very versatile machine. However, if you are using very big groupings like I did with this one with the 14 round shader, yeah, there's no way it's gonna push it. Now I do have to say in general, all these stroke adjustable with the swash plate are a little bit weaker. Some are a bit stronger than others. Like I've noticed that with also with the Dragonhawk series, you know, like the Fold 3 and the Fold Pro are actually really powerful. And then if I use the Fold Pro 2 or Fold 2 Pro, that one was a little bit weaker as well. But I explained that in a video where I actually compare them side by side, which you can also find on my channel. And where I explain a little bit, and I notice this a lot whenever I get a stroke adjustable machine like this, that there's almost like two versions of a machine, and they come in a lot of different shapes and sizes, and you know, some of them are a bit stronger, some of them are a little bit weaker, but you have to use it to your own advantage pretty much. So like I said, with this one, a lot of the finer lines and the shading, and even the packing with a smaller needle is super good. But yeah, if you want to pull 14 round liner lines, maybe pack solid black with a 22 mag, something like that, that is probably not going to work with this machine, even though if you use it on the 4.2 millimeter stroke. I do have to say this is a very comfortable machine to use. It is very well balanced. I like that the grip is a little bit bigger, so I don't know, it gives a little bit more weight forward and you don't have all that weight on the battery in the back, which I think is a very good feature Also, the battery is fairly small, and according to the manual, it will last about 6 to 8 hours, and charging time is somewhere between the 2 to 3 hours. Now, it is nice that you have that dot mode integrated in that battery as well. However, I don't really use it. I did try it because I wanted to work around to see if I can find a way to really push that 14 round shader into the practice skin like that by increasing the voltage and slowing like the cycles per second down a bit. Now, even though I can use that on practice skin, I don't think I would use that on someone's skin. So be advised, don't experiment this when you are using actual flesh. If you use it on practice skin, go nuts, but it might be, maybe you could perfect it, but I wouldn't really recommend it. The shading is actually really nice and soft, so you have plenty of time to build up that shading, which is a really nice feature with this machine. And with that being said, if you are interested in buying this machine, I will have a link in the description down below that will give you an extra discount as well. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot more to say other than I wish you all a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video.